What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video brought to you by the Playbook Sports Podcast. My name is Colin, and I will be previewing the Week 17 game on Saturday night in Arlington, Texas, as your Dallas Cowboys will be playing host to those Detroit Lions.
Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
NFC North champs, first time in 33 years, first time in my life. Shout out Detroit. I have no idea what that would feel like, having a team that hasn't, even won the division or won a playoff game in my lifetime. But however, I am a Cowboy fan, so I haven't seen a Super Bowl. I haven't seen an NFC Championship game in my life. So hopefully that's something I could celebrate and feel that same joy and excitement that you guys just felt last week with the result of your game. Hopefully the Detroit Lion team is still riding that emotional high of that victory, and they're going to come in here and just roll on over for my Dallas Cowboys. But unfortunately, they're probably not. Talk about Dan Campbell and the culture there in Detroit. Good on them for winning the division, something that I know they had probably circled and highlighted and starred to the biggest thing they wanted to accomplish this year, or the first thing they wanted to accomplish this year was to win the division. And then you got to have bigger aspirations after you conquer that first goal. So they're going to come in here. They built that culture in Detroit. They're going to be playing for the number one seed that's still up for grabs. They have the same record as the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles, all three teams sitting at 11-4. The Dallas Cowboys sitting at 10-5. Detroit still has a little bit to play for as far as seeding go. They're going to have their division clinched up. As I mentioned, they clinched that last week. Dallas still has a little bit to play for as well. The NFC East is still open, but you're relying on the Arizona Cardinals or the New York Giants to beat the Eagles in the last 2 weeks of the season, along with you going perfect the last two games at home against Detroit and then going into Washington and beating the Commanders. Interesting news coming in and out of there. Brissett takes over for Howell. Now Brissett's hurt, so now Howell is going to be thrown back into the fire. Kind of back and forth. But let's talk about this game on Saturday. Detroit's coming in, riding a high of a two-game winning streak, clinching the division. Dallas is coming in, riding a low of a two-game losing streak. Two tough games back-to-back on the road against more than likely two playoff teams, assuming Buffalo makes the wild card in the AFC. And then Miami, who's probably going to win the AFC East, knock on wood. They have two tough opponents the last 2 weeks of the season. But last week in Miami, a game that Dallas could have won if they cleaned it up a little bit. Made a couple crucial mistakes here and there. Couldn't get a big stop on defense when you needed them to down the stretch of the fourth quarter. So in this game here, Detroit comes in. Let's talk about a few team statistics real quick. Detroit has the fifth best passing offense as far as yards go. Jared Goff's had a very underrated, great season. I know a couple weeks ago on our podcast, I was kind of slandering Jared Goff a little bit whenever they had that little skid against the Packers on Thanksgiving, and they went to Chicago and got dismantled by the Bears. Can Jared Goff play outside and then cold? Fortunately for the Lions, they won't have to in the first playoff game as they'll host that home game, and they won't have to Saturday when they go to Dallas either. Should be decent weather in Dallas, but just in case, they play in a dome, so Jared Goff's not going to have to worry about playing in the cold. Third best rushing offense as far as yards go as well, so they're very balanced offensively. They got a two-headed monster in the backfield. With David Montgomery, who's emerging, resurrecting his career, leaving the Bears after last season, has been a great power back and change of pace back for the Lions. And then they have Jahmyr Gibbs, who they drafted in the first round, who's really that burst, that home run hitter, and their offense utilizing him more in the last few weeks of the season. So very balanced offense, top 5 pass, top 3 rushing offense in the league. They have the 5th most points scored offensively. They average the 5th most points scored. So a top 5 offense, great passing, great running, great scoring, very good offensive line, very good red zone offense as well. Looking at the defense, this one gets a little chippy. The back end of their defense isn't fantastic. 23rd against the pass as far as yards. Now they are good against the run. They're the 4th ranked run defense and they're the 24th ranked scoring defense as in points allowed per game. So Detroit can be got on the defensive side of the ball, but they're so balanced and they execute so well offensively. It keeps them in a lot of these games and it lets them win a lot of these close games as well. Because all you need is just one play on defense and you're going to give it to your offense and they're going to go ahead and execute for you. Looking at Dallas's team statistics, 6th ranked passing offense. So just right there with Detroit, one ranked down, 12th ranked rushing offense. So they're a little more one-sided than Detroit is. Detroit's top 5 in both run and pass. Dallas is not. Struggled a little bit in the run game. Saw it again last week. Rico Dowdle is going to be out this game with an ankle injury. Answer the question of why he had such limited production last week. I'm assuming he, sustained the injury earlier in the game, and it limited his carries and touches in throughout the rest of the game. And it's going to keep him out of this game on Saturday. Could be a big loss for Dallas because you're going to keep giving it to Hunter Lipke, or you could activate Deuce Vaughn, who hasn't been great this year and really hasn't been playing this year. So can Dallas's run offense get going in this game? I don't know. Detroit has a great run defense. Dallas does not have a great run offense. Dallas points for, they average the second most points per game in the NFL. So really good pass offense, really good scoring offense, not a great running offense. Looking at their defense, they're fifth against the pass, Dallas is, which could be big in this game as Detroit is prolific throwing the ball and running the ball, honestly. 19th against the run is Dallas' defense. So something Detroit does great, top 3 in the league running the ball. Dallas is bottom, 12 and the 13th in the league defending the run. So Dallas is not great defending the run. Detroit's very good at running the ball. Dallas is the 5th ranked scoring defense as in points allowed per game as well. So top 2 scoring offense, top 5 scoring defense. Great throwing the ball, great defending the pass, not great running, not great defending the run is Dallas. They'll be missing Jonathan Hankins again in this game, still out with that ankle injury. Big loss there in the middle. Detroit, as I mentioned, has a great offensive line, and they're very good at running the ball and setting up these play action fakes. And one thing they do very well, and something Dallas does a lot, Dallas runs the man coverage the highest percentage in the league. And what is Jared Goff against man? He is money against man. Jared Goff this season, 17 touchdowns, 0 interceptions against man. I'll say it again, 17 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jared Goff is against man defense. Dallas runs man the most in the league. Now, Jared Goff against zone defense, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So Jared Goff, not great against zone, fantastic against man. Dallas runs man at the highest percentage of anybody in the league. Could be a bad matchup for Dallas here in this game if Jared Goff's able to pick apart the defense. If the front four for the Dallas side is unable to get pressure on Jared Goff, it could be a field day for him back there. So could be a big game here. Talking about Detroit coming in, as I already mentioned, on that emotional high, riding a 2-game winning streak. Dallas riding a 2-game losing streak. However, the Cowboys at home are much different than the Cowboys on the road. Cowboys on the road, not great this season, 3-5. Cowboys at home, 7-0. They average about 40 points scored at home versus about 18 scored on the road. So everything's shaping up. Can Detroit keep up? Is it going to be a shootout? I saw already the line for the over-under in this game is the highest line this season from any matchup. It's at 53.5 points currently. And it might sound crazy to say, I see this as an over game. I see Detroit's offense continuing to roll against, kind of I don't want to say backpedaling, but kind of a little vulnerable Dallas Cowboy defense. And I see Dallas's offense at home keeping up and just keeping it going. So let's get into a few big keys to a Dallas Cowboy victory. We're going to talk about 5 of them really quickly. First key that Dallas needs to do to win this game is execute in the red zone. Something I'm just continue to say. It's been the number 1 key since about week 6, and it's going to continue to be the number 1 key. They were 1 for 3 last week again in the red zone, under 50%. And the biggest play in the game, in my opinion, was either that Tony Pollard run on the option there with Dak, where he got tackled at the 1-yard line, or it was Hunter Lipke not even getting the carry, not even getting possession of the handoff on 1st and goal and fumbling at the 1. Dallas executes on that possession. They're leading the whole game instead of trailing the whole game. And maybe it's the difference in a win versus a loss. Dallas, you need to execute in the red zone. Detroit's a team that does execute in the red zone and a team that will put up points. So you need touchdowns and not field goals in this game. Number 2, you got to sell out for the run. We all know what Jared Goff is through the air. He's going to get his regardless. Now, if they can run and pass, you're done. You're done. Because if they can run play fakes, they can control the clock, they control the line of scrimmage. You need to stop the run. If you can stop the run, you have a fighter's chance in this game. Number 3 here, keep CeeDee Lamb involved. There was nothing more infuriating than after halftime during that whole third quarter, every time Dallas had the ball. CeeDee Lamb still hasn't been targeted since the first quarter. CeeDee Lamb still hasn't been targeted since the first quarter. I understand he got 10 targets in the game, caught 6 of the 10, but you need to keep him involved, even if it's moving him around, giving him an end-around handoff, getting him in motion to be like a decoy for a play going the other way. You got to utilize your best weapons and keep the defense on their toes because they're going to be zeroed in on that one guy. If you're not going to target him and throw it to him, at least let him, attract defenders away from who you're going to. And that's something Dallas didn't do a lot of in Miami last week. So keep CeeDee Lamb involved one way or the other. Number 4 here, make Jared Goff beat zone. I just told you his stats versus man and zone. He is much better against man. He's near perfect against man. Make him beat your zone. If you're going to keep running man and he's going to beat you all day, they have maybe the best rookie tight end ever, Sam Laporta. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a great gadget guy. They have the two-headed monsters at running back I talked about. They have the deep threat in Jameson Williams and a couple of other guys here underneath that can do it. The Josh Reynolds guys. People like this for Detroit that can beat man against second and third corners or your linebackers as well. Make Jared Goff beat your zone defense. Don't be afraid. Put ego aside. You know what? We run a lot of man. We're going to keep playing man. No. Go ahead and, check your ego at the door. We know a quarterback that's better against man than zone. Maybe we drop a little bit more in zone here and try to make Jared Goff make a mistake. Let's see what happens. Number 5 here, fifth and final key is going to be to win the trenches. I talked about it. And Dallas's 5 losses and the 4 losses prior to last week in Miami, they had allowed about 191 rushing yards per game. Last week in Miami, they did a pretty good job shoring that up a little bit. Still lost, but they only averaged 91 yards in that game. But they didn't get much push on their side of their offensive line. Dallas didn't. You need to get push up front. Detroit has a great, two-headed monster on the edges at least, and they have a pretty good defensive line overall. Where you can get them in the back half, but if you can push this defensive line around and you can get some push on your defensive line against that great offensive line they have, it's going to set you up for success in this game. It goes to stopping the run. Win the trenches is basically just reinforcing that same feeling, but it adds the offensive element for Dallas as well. You got to establish run on offense when you have the ball, and you have to stop the run on defense when they have the ball. So let's get into a final verdict, what you're all here for. Final verdict brought to you by the law offices of Goldfine and Bowles. Personal injury, any other questions you might have, Central Illinois especially, give them a call. Great guys over there. They know exactly what to do and who to get you in touch with to help you out with what you might need. Final verdict, Goldfine and Bowles. So final verdict here, I have a high scoring game. I mentioned I think the over is going to hit. There's a reason this is the highest total for a game this season at 53.5. I have your Dallas Cowboys going perfect at home, finishing the season 8-0 at home, winning the game 33-27. I think Dallas comes out. They sense that urgency in the air. Hey, guys, we dropped 2 straight. We can't drop 3 straight. We're a little comfortable back at home. Detroit does not have a great pass defense. They're going to get theirs with 27 points, Detroit is, but Dallas is also going to get theirs with 33. I think this is remnant of the Seattle game a couple weeks ago on Thursday night we saw, where Seattle comes out and does exactly whatever they want offensively. And can Dallas keep up? And can Dallas's defense get a stop when they need it in the fourth? We'll see. Hopefully so. But that is my preview video for Week 17, Lions-Cowboys. We will see you after the game with the recap. Go Cowboys. Let's stop this 2-game skid. Let's get back on track before the playoffs. Let's go. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And just wait for Sage and Nate's Ravens-Dolphins preview. That's going to be a great video along with our other game picks for this week. Thanks again for watching. We'll catch you in the recap.